Egypt, a timeless tapestry of civilization and mystery. Hello everyone. Have you ever dreamed of walking through golden sands under a blazing sun, only to come across a towering pyramid, or a stone sphinx watching silently over the desert? If so, then you've already imagined a glimpse of Egypt, one of the most fascinating civilizations in all of human history. Today, I'm going to take you on a journey through ancient Egypt, a land of grand pyramids, mysterious mummies, brilliant culture, and powerful civilization. Let's explore the wonders that made Egypt not just a kingdom of the past, but a legacy that still lives on today. 1. The birth of a civilization. Egypt's story begins over 5,000 years ago, around 3100 BCE, when King Narmer united Upper and Lower Egypt. This marked the beginning of a powerful civilization that lasted for over 3,000 years. That's longer than any empire today. The reason for Egypt's success: the Nile River. Every year, it flooded and left behind rich, fertile soil, perfect for farming. Because of the Nile, Egyptians had stable food supplies, which gave them the time and energy to build cities, temples, and an entire culture. Egyptians were skilled in agriculture, mathematics, architecture, and medicine. They invented a calendar based on the stars, and even performed surgical procedures using tools we'd recognize today. 2. The Great Pyramids, monuments for eternity. One of the most iconic symbols of Egypt is the pyramid. These weren't just giant piles of stone, they were carefully designed tombs built to last forever. The most famous is the Great Pyramid of Giza, built for Pharaoh Khufu, standing at over 450 feet tall and made from over 2 million limestone blocks. It's one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, and the only one still standing. How were these built without modern machines? That's still debated, but what's clear is the level of organization, engineering, and manpower it took. These pyramids were meant to protect the pharaoh's body and his journey into the afterlife, which leads us to the next fascinating topic. 3. Mummies and the afterlife. The Egyptians believed in life after death, but to enjoy the afterlife, you had to take care of your body. So, they developed a process called mummification. Mummification was a sacred and detailed ritual. The body's organs were removed, preserved, and placed in special jars. The body was then dried with salt, wrapped in linen, and placed inside a coffin, or several. This wasn't just for kings. Wealthy people and even some animals, like cats and crocodiles, were also mummified. Mummies weren't just buried in the ground. They were placed inside tombs, often deep inside pyramids or in the famous Valley of the Kings. These tombs were filled with treasures, food, clothes, and anything the person might need in the next world. 4. Religion and gods. Ancient Egyptian culture was deeply religious. They believed in hundreds of gods and goddesses. Each one had a role to play. Ra, the sun god; Anubis, the god of mummification; Isis, the goddess of healing and magic; and Osiris, the god of the dead. Temples were built not just for worship, but also as centers of learning and healing. Priests played a major role in society, performing rituals to maintain balance and harmony, what the Egyptians called Ma'at, a concept of truth, justice, and order that was central to their way of life. 5. Language, art, and writing. The Egyptians invented one of the earliest writing systems, hieroglyphics, a combination of pictures and symbols. These were carved into temple walls, tombs, and written on papyrus scrolls. Scribes, who learned this complex writing, were respected members of society. Thanks to them, we know so much about daily life in ancient Egypt, everything from farming and trade to love poems and laws. Egyptian art was also incredibly advanced. Paintings, jewelry, pottery, and statues all reflected their deep respect for balance, beauty, and symbolism. 6. Women and society. One surprising fact about ancient Egypt is the role of women. Unlike many other ancient cultures, Egyptian women could own property, run businesses, and even become pharaohs. The most famous of them all was Cleopatra VII, the last ruler of ancient Egypt, who was known for her intelligence, political skill, and dramatic history with Rome. 7. The fall of a civilization. Despite all its brilliance, Egypt's independence eventually faded. It was conquered by the Persians, the Greeks under Alexander the Great, and finally the Romans. But even as new rulers came and went, Egypt's legacy lived on. Today, modern Egypt stands proud of its ancient past. Tourists from around the world visit Cairo, Giza, and Luxor to witness the magic of the pyramids, the Sphinx, and the ancient temples. 8. Why Egypt still matters. So why does Egypt still fascinate us? Because it reminds us of what humans are capable of when they have vision, belief, and determination. It teaches us about creativity, spirituality, and respect for life and death. It also shows that even thousands of years ago, people cared about family, legacy, justice, and the mystery of the universe, just like we do today. In many ways, ancient Egypt is not just history. It's a mirror, showing us our roots, our questions, and our dreams. Conclusion. In closing, Egypt is more than pyramids and mummies. It's a civilization of thinkers, builders, artists, and believers. Its stories are carved in stone, wrapped in linen, and whispered through the winds of the desert. So next time you see a picture of a pyramid or a golden mask, remember, you're not just looking at the past, you're looking at one of humanity's greatest achievements. Thank you.